I just lost $27,000 overnight. But this was still one of the best weeks that we have ever had in business. It's now been about a year and a month of building 2 fully online businesses and about 6 months of traveling the world full-time without a fixed address. Every week I sit down and I share the highs, the lows, the learnings, the challenges, and the insights from life on the road, building businesses, and I'll also share our latest revenue numbers, so stick around to the end for that as well if you want to find out. Whoa. Anyway, welcome back to My Monday Journal, episode 5. But before we get into any of the business nitty-gritty, here's a bit of a life update from the last week. It's honestly been an amazing week. I've been sleeping here on the floor at Joe, Flynn, Kimmy, and Jenna's place, and Alina, Jai, and Liam are all upstairs as well. So there's been a lot going on, a lot of amazing energy, and it's been a hell of a week. It actually reminds me why Jai and I built Art of Mondays in the first place, to bring like-minded people together who lift each other up. And I've been living that over this past week. To be totally honest though, I didn't realize how totally exhausted I was until the week came to an end and I flew back to Melbourne. As soon as I arrived, I crashed, and I crashed hard. And in hindsight, it was just one thing after another that kept the adrenaline pumping. Some really incredible conversations, partnership opportunities, promotions, all kinds of things going on. And then of course, all of the workout and time in the sun and time in the beach. But then when I got back to Melbourne, I just needed a break. Or, well, my body told me I needed a break. Every week, I also share my highs, my lows, and my learnings, aka my traffic lights. So let's get stuck in. My highlight of the week, it's actually not one particular moment, but a series of small moments. And I've got a few written down here. And I think it's the little moments in conjunction that really made this week awesome. It was the 5 a.m. ocean swim. It was the home cooked dinner and going around in a circle and sharing gratitude hand in hand. It was staring at the full moon while Matt ran a little ceremony for us where we shared our limiting beliefs and tried to overcome them and hold each other accountable as well. And just all those little in-between moments, being weird in the car on the way back, creating our own little silly language with Joe and Kimmy, and just a chance to really feel like a kid again in those in-between moments as well. And I think that comes down to, honestly, just to surrounding yourself with people you feel comfortable with. As for my learning of the week, so I've got 2. My business learning has been that when it comes to efficiency, right now, that goes hand in hand with your willingness to adopt AI. There are so many shortcuts and tools out there that we can leverage. And the more I try them, the more time I save. And I really encourage you just to test them out and see what you can automate, because time is our most precious resource. For me personally, I use Superhuman for emails. I use ChatGPT all the time, but we also built a AI Mr. Monday, someone who we can ask questions about our members and they'll give us answers, and also built an AI Jai, who takes all of Jai's insights and messages from his YouTube channel and allows me to ask him questions based on Art of Mondays and the history. So whenever I have a question for Jai, I just ask AI Jai first, and if I don't get the answer, then I'll go to the real Jai. But honestly, he's 90% as good. So Jai, if you're watching this, you might be out of a job soon. Anyway, as for my personal learning, I think it's really simple. Surrounding yourself with the right people gives you more energy. Surrounding yourself with the wrong people takes your energy away. For my challenge of the week, this is something that I alluded to at the very beginning of this video, and that's that we lost $27,000 overnight. It was stolen. And honestly, I went through every single emotion you can imagine after realizing what had happened. I freaked out. I panic messaged Jai and Mo, tried all the solutions, tried to figure out what it was, and then eventually calmed down and came up with a bit of a solution. But let me walk you through exactly what happened and how it got to that point, so it never happens to you or anyone you know. So it all started when I saw a few really small charges on our account, which were out of the ordinary. Because our threshold's currently at about 1,000, when I saw a charge for $2 and a charge for $3, I thought, hey, what's going on here? But it had happened before. Facebook does sometimes like to just test things, and and I sent a message to Mo, and nothing was out of the ordinary on our account. So we didn't take much notice of it, but we were aware of it. It kept happening for about 4 or 5 days and totaled around $100. So it definitely wasn't a big deal by any means. And then what happened is, over the next 48 hours, when I was doing back-to-back interviews, when Jai was just coming back from being offline from a camping trip, and Mo's on the other side of the world in Mexico City as well, in a different time zone. So turns out, of course, these were fraudulent transactions. And then on the 6th and the 7th day, these scammers ramped up the volume and ramped up the limit. They managed to increase the threshold to $180 per transaction, and then were firing dozens and dozens of transactions every hour. So I could have been asleep for 8 hours, and if we were doing 10 transactions of $180 an hour, I mean, you could do the math. That's how it added up so quickly. Just by being relatively offline for 48 hours, that's when they struck. And ultimately, it was just bad timing, because if it wasn't such a busy time, then we would have been able to catch it sooner. Mo also tracks our ad account really closely, but nothing was out of the ordinary for him. And that's because these scammers weren't using our credit card to do anything on our particular account. What had actually happened is they had gained access to our credit card and were using it on someone else's Facebook ad account. So essentially, we were paying for ads for other people, and we didn't know who it was. We didn't know what the ads were. And it also wasn't a credit card, it was a debit card, which made getting it back a lot harder. So after all of the freaking out, we ended up sending a bunch of emails, getting on the phone with both our bank, Wise, and Facebook, and trying to figure out what's happened. And it was very much a case of passing the blame to the other person. The bank said, hey, go check out Facebook, and Facebook said, hey, go talk to your bank. But I guess that's probably not surprising to you guys either. Thanks to persistence, and thanks to Mo and Jai just constantly following up, and me following them up to follow up as well, we got back most of our payments about a week later. So it was stressful. It was up and down. But to be totally honest, after about the first 48 hours, my mindset was that the money was gone. And after that point, I'd made peace with it. I actually told Jai that if we get all our money back somehow, that he can buy a new camera. So he's been on the phone all the time to Wise me, like, hey guys, where's our money? Where's our money? I want my new Sony FX3. So Jai, if you're watching this a little bit later and you got an FX3, that's your doing for following up so often. Of course, when we realized what was going on, I blocked our card immediately, but there was a really difficult flow-on effect of this, and that's that every single one of our softwares and all of the transactions that we have to make, like buying gifts for our members, they all go through the same card. So that meant I had to spend a good day resetting all of our passwords, changing the card details. It was a bit of a nightmare, and definitely a lesson for the future to have a card dedicated to software and a card dedicated to spending on advertisements. So overall, obviously not ideal, but learned plenty of lessons along the way. And the good news is that most of the funds have eventually been returned. And now, moving on, every week I give 2 questions to ponder, and these ones I think are pretty impactful. So feel free to leave your answers in the comments so we can keep the discussion going. The first question to ponder is, how can you better use sound and scent to elevate your main 3 environments, which for most people is home, office, car. We always think about what it looks like, but sound and scent make a big difference into how it feels, how our nervous system feels there. And my second question to ponder is, consider the times that you've recently let yourself down. What was the common excuse that you've been making in those times? And what's the strategy that you're going to implement so that you can't use that excuse anymore? Here's my example. I've let myself down recently by not going for a daily run, and my excuse was I don't have clean running clothes. So what I've done is gone and bought a second pair of running shorts. So now I don't have that excuse anymore. And moving on, now I'll finish up with a little Art of Mondays update, which I give every week. So as of right now, we've had 910 applications. We've accepted 101 members. The average age is 27, and they're all lifestyle founders. So people who run online businesses, but also share our values of health, travel, mindfulness, wellness, balance, freedom, sport, etc. The biggest update by far is that we've had not one, not two, but 3 chats with possible partners for Art of Mondays. And by partners, I mean partnerships with other businesses, other aligned businesses. So can't say too much just yet, but here is the elevator pitch. We're going to join forces with some other businesses who have the same values as well as similar business models. And Jai and I will be able to share our knowledge, our experience, our systems, our operations through growing Art of Mondays and the Founder Sports Club, apply it to their industry, their business model, their vision, and essentially allows us to pour fuel on the fire. The important thing here is that we're going to be invested for the long term and help these guys succeed. And when they succeed, we'll succeed as well. If you've been watching the journey, you know that we're all about creating win-win situations. And if all goes to plan, these will be some of those situations as well. The next update is that Matt and I planned our Japan residency itinerary, and it's going to be about 5 or 6 days on the slopes in Hakuba, and then 3 to 4 days of really deliberate cultural immersion, connection, and personal growth. And if you want to see what happens behind the scenes and all of the ins and outs of the activities, then make sure to subscribe to the channel, because we're going to be documenting the whole process, the whole 9 days, and making some pretty epic videos that we'll post on this channel. And the final 2 updates. The first one is that we've made some pretty epic progress on our new Art of Mondays product. It's going to be live soon, potentially when this video is posted, at spaces.artofmondays.com. And essentially it is a curated list of beautiful accommodations around the world that helps you save time, save money, and find hidden gems that can make your trip the next level. We've spent many hours deep in the rabbit hole of Airbnb and Booking.com and all these private villa sites trying to find that perfect accommodation for the founder residencies. And as you can see, I'll put them on screen. We've found some pretty epic ones over the journey, but trust me, it is not easy. But we thought there must be a better way, and there wasn't, so we made one. We are now making these aesthetic, homely, beautiful, convenient, and accessible accommodations available to everyone. So go check it out. If you have any feedback, leave that in the comments as well, and I'll give you more updates around that when it's officially live. And the last update is that we built a Art of Mondays member map. So this gives you real-time access to see where the other Art of Mondays members are around the world. And the whole point here is because it's something that our members asked for. The demand was there, so we made it. It makes it a lot easier to meet up for coffee, go for a run, catch up with people when they're traveling, and just promote more in-person connection as well. Because while we do love the virtual side of what we do, we love the in-person stuff just that little bit more. Maybe I'm biased. And that's it. So thanks for tuning in to another episode of my Monday Journal. And as promised, for our latest revenue numbers, Art of Mondays is hitting just over 500K, and the Founder Sports Club is in the mid-20s of monthly recurring revenue. So things continuing to move in the right direction. Thanks for tuning in. Appreciate you more than you know. All right, see you in the next one. Peace.